Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless, a sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it, and I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory, yeah. Don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring, I just want a life that is worth every day exploring,
My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be.
We are back for the One Pride podcast. We talk all things Detroit Lions news and rumors, and we have a fun time doing so. We're going to be talking about Minicamp Day 3 observations taking place. We're going to get into some news in the NFC North that does affect the Detroit Lions. But before we do that, let's welcome our guests in. We got Anthony from Roar Lions UK. What's going on, man?
Hey, Mike, doing well. Thanks. Hope you are as well. It's absolutely glorious over here at the minute, so I've been outside sunning myself today, but time to come in and talk some Detroit Lions now.
Absolutely. And I got Dan the man with a piece of a green screen. What's going on, Dan?
How you doing, Mike? Everybody out there? Great day to be a Lions fan. One day closer to training camp starting, and man, oh man, it's great to be smog-free.
Absolutely, folks. And make sure you go ahead and hit that like button. We got 50 in the building, 11 likes. Let's get to 20 likes and do hashtag FTrista. That is exactly what I want to see in the comment section. Hashtag FTrista. That is exactly what is needed for today. So let's get straight into the news that took place here for the NFC North. Ant-Man, looks like they are releasing Dalvin Cook for the Minnesota Vikings, official by tomorrow.
Absolutely. You know, it's like all the bogeymen in the closet are going now. All these guys who have haunted us for years. Aaron Rodgers is gone. We thought, you know what, screw it, let's just sign Montgomery and use him instead of him be used against us. Dalvin Cook's now gone, and yeah, he's just a guy we've had such problems against over the years. He runs tough, makes plays, and he's kind of. And everyone talks about Jefferson on that team, but none of the stuff with Cousins and the play action and Jefferson happens without Cook running for 1,000 yards every season and just been utterly dominant. I'm surprised they did it. I know there's cap implications for them and they're paying them a lot of money, but I don't like it when these teams sort of say to the player, yeah, we're going to give you a lot of money, we think you're worth it. And then when they get through the cheap years and they get to the expensive ones, they're like, you know what, screw you. I think it's bad for player culture. I don't think it's going to be good for them. And the running back room behind them ain't particularly impressive. So it's good for us. Another opportunity there, we'll take it. But, you know, I'm just glad we don't have to face him twice a year, and now he's going to be someone else's problem.
Let me know in the comment section, you guys excited that Dalvin Cook is leaving the NFC North? Y for yes and N for no. Dan the man, what's going on, buddy? What do you think about Dalvin Cook leaving?
You know, I just think it's another sign that the Minnesota Vikings might be trending closer and closer to falling out and rebuilding than contending. You know, obviously their defense took a massive drop-off last year. I don't really think they did a ton to upgrade it. And then you look at Dalvin Cook. Like Ant-Man said, you know, he's been a terror in this division for a few years. I think he's got a lot of juice left in him. And, you know, somebody's going to be the beneficiary of him hitting free agency. We're the beneficiary of not having to face him twice a year for the next foreseeable future. So good move for the Detroit Lions.
Do you think it's a significant impact or a little impact?
Significant. And just because I think Kirk Cousins is similar to Jared Goff in that a lot of his best routes are timing routes off play action. And unless Minnesota really gets somebody to step up in that running back room to help alleviate, get that, you know, second wave of linebackers, et cetera, defense to come up and bite on play action, he's just not as effective when he's just a straight, you know, drop back quarterback or out of a shotgun formation. But you give Cousins play action with a reliable running back, he can do a lot of damage, and this is going to impact his ability to perform just like the rest of that Minnesota offense.
We got my man AG from Spirit of Detroit podcast in the building. What's going on, man?
Hey, how you doing? How's everything? It's good to be here.
It's good that you are here. Shout out your channel. Tell the folks where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Spirit of Detroit Podcast. Pretty soon it's going to be Spirit of Detroit Lions. Pretty soon, but you can find me on YouTube, Twitter, talking the same talk. We'll go over film. We'll go over news you can use and stuff like that. So
news that can use, like Dalvin Cook, he's going to be released. What do you think about that in the effect in Minnesota and Detroit?
Let the rebuild begin. They're going to rebuild. The GM's been rather vocal about, the quarterback position. He's been vocal about, just rebuilding the offense in a new image, kind of like getting frontier guys on the line. And, let the rebuild begin. Their window is about 4 years, maybe 3 years of a good window. And they kind of didn't seize the moment in the playoffs when they had those spots open. So, hey, that's better for us. That's better for this organization. And, yeah, I just can't wait for their rebuild to take place. Hopefully it takes, 37 years like the Lions did.
That sounds perfect for us. Same with Green Bay as well. Ant-Man, there's mixed reports of today's minicamp. Tell the folks what you were, found out about Jameson Williams and his performance today.
Seems to be a little bit of everything with Jamo at the minute, isn't it? It's a little bit inconsistent at the minute. Sometimes he makes really good plays, and then there's a few drops in there as well. And but this is kind of what you expect at this time of year. Again, you're quite new in the off season. There's a long way to go. You're still establishing the chemistry with Jared Goff, but overall, he seems to be moving in the right direction. The problems seem to be getting fewer and far, and gradually that trust seems to be building up between them. So, again, I'm not worried really about any of these issues now. When you get into main training camp and stuff like that, then you'd hope by that point the rapport is established and the two of them are getting on pretty well. So, yeah, again, it's just sort of like the inconsistency of it. But again, it doesn't really bother me at this point. I'm just glad that he's got in a full off season to train, to practice. He didn't get that last year. So this is going to be really big for him. And I know he's missing a few games for us, but this will be great for him long term. So inconsistent, but moving in the right direction.
I'm really curious to see what AG thinks about Jameson Williams. Do you think the media is kind of pounding him a little bit? Do you think he's underperforming? Do you think it's overrated? Like, what is your whole thoughts on Jameson Williams? Yeah, I can't hear you.
That's Lions fans being Lions fans. That's the Detroit media being the Detroit media. They want you to go out and they want you to go out and perform. If you're picked in the first round, they want you to perform immediately. Any position besides quarterback, they want you to perform to a certain expectation. That expectation is usually unrealistic. They want you to perform to Calvin Johnson-esque levels. Then, it doesn't help that he was injured and, he was picked by Detroit. And you had a sample size and then it kind of withered out, with his first play being a touchdown and the end of round touchdown as well. And they just want the spectacular plays. Then the gambling thing happens and Detroit Lions fans naturally just have this reactionary bias. Because if you're picked in the first round, you got to be God until you get paid, and then when you get paid, you got to have a discount. So he has to come out. He has to come out his first year, have 1,000 yards, and then have 1,000 yards for 10 years. And if he ever wants to leave or move or get traded or whatever, he's a traitor. So the Detroit Lions fan base, as well as Detroit Lions media, has to do a better job of not being critical on smaller things. The chemistry with Goff, that's going to take place. That's gonna be a season thing. Maybe a preseason thing where you build chemistry with the receiver that didn't play a whole lot. And then the gambling thing, that's rules are rules, He admitted he was sorry. He already was, kind of sentenced. I don't want to say that, but he's already dealt with that, and he's dealing with that. We don't have to rehash it. Not us, but the media, the Sports Illustrateds, the guys that actually do all the media pieces. I just think Detroit Lions fans are they're too reactionary.
No doubt about it. And the offense was struggling, I guess, in OTAs, and Jared Goff was struggling. Everybody was freaking out. But guess what happened in minicamp today? Jared Goff and the first-team offense methodically moved down the field. Catches by Amon0Ra St, Josh Reynolds, and Brock Wright for a 9-yard touchdown. Goff got the ball back with 55 seconds on their own 45. And 5 plays, second possession. get loose, 34-yard touchdown to win the drill on offense. Dan, nothing to worry about with the offense, right?
No. I mean, we've talked about on this show, all of us before. As a coach, I would say this: if you went through 3 or 4 or 5 days or practices, whatever you want to call them in OTAs, where a unit isn't performing, that would be alarming. One day, there's so many nuances, especially this time of year. You got new faces coming in, new players, new terminology, maybe new routes, and the timing in any offense. A half a second to a second makes a big difference. So you're either there or you're not. The pass is on time or it's not, the cut, the break, whatever it is. But what we are seeing is with each day that goes by, a lot of things are starting to clear up between the receivers, between Goff, whoever it is, and it's looking crisper and crisper. Last year, Lions fans faced a great offense in Detroit. And I think there's every reason to believe with some of the new weapons we have, it could be way better even this year.
Will the real Don Burr please stand up? Right now, there's a bunch of Don Burrs in the comment section. Put hashtag Don Burr. Let's get some love to all these Don Burrs. This is kind of funny if you're reading the comments. Go ahead and do that. AG, thoughts on the Lions offense? Methodically going down the field, scoring touchdowns like we all expect. Offense, nothing to worry about. Again, can't hear you.
I have a habit of muting myself because my daughter's playing in the background, and Elmo's doing his thing. My thoughts on OTAs is, Super Bowls were never won in pajamas. I just don't. I don't see the practical application of applying that. I like that Goff is there. I like that everything is going well, and if it's not going well. But if I have to ignore the bad, I'm going to ignore the good as well. I'm going to keep an even-clad, even-teal type of thing until we get in the pads. And I think that every Lions fan needs to kind of keep that even-teal tone until we get in pads because, that's when the man and the boys are separated. We had last year, I remember we had a linebacker that we had signed from Baltimore, and he was killing in pajamas. He was amazing. He's not on the roster. So he was killing in the pajamas. So I just kind of take it with a grain of salt. I'm happy for Goff, getting a 9-yard touchdown in a meaningless scrimmage and meaningless game that no one saw. But I'm happy that we're hearing news and we're getting closer to that time.
Yeah, we're all waiting for training camp and the regular season. It's so close, but we're in that lull period, and so we're trying to take and dissect every little thing that we get. Why? Because we're nuts, and we're Lions fans, and this is what we do.
You the best. You the best. You gotta do it. You the best. You running YouTube.
Hey,
but,
I appreciate it, but it's actually Don Burr that runs the YouTube channel right now in the comments section. There is one consistent, and it happened again yesterday and today. Jamir Gibbs is getting a ton of reps at wide receiver, and absolutely his route tree is nuts. He's burning everybody. This guy is going to be spectacular. Ant-Man, thoughts on Jahmyr Gibbs and what he's doing?
Yeah, like people are saying, OTAs mean nothing at the end of the day. They are there to refine you. They're just there to get you in shape and, for the main part in the late bit of the season. But you can't help but just feel really excited. And you know what? I know it is just pajama season at the minute, but damn it, I am going to be excited. 2 years ago, I had to watch Adrian Peterson lugging his 50-year-old ass down the field as our running back one here now. We've got some truly special talent at running back now, and damn it, I'm going to enjoy them whilst we've got them. Monty, we know he's going to be a menace in the league, consistent every single year, and Gibbs he's just such a weapon in every which way you want to use him. Schematically, the way Ben Johnson operates, all the use of motion, moving these guys in there, he's just going to fit everywhere. He'll be a 3-down offensive player. Don't put him in the block, put him in the slot, put him in at running back. He's criminally underrated as a running back. But just some of the stuff you're seeing is what you expect of the 12th overall pick in the draft. Just the way he must Reeves Maben today, and as he should. Guys like that, he's just left him for dead, and it's going to be really interesting to see him. But I just can't help but be excited by him. You see him more day by day, and you're just like, God, there's something special about him, and I'm really going to enjoy seeing him this season. So, Yeah, I cannot wait.
Dan, are you getting excited to hear, what Jahmyr Gibbs is going to do with this offense? Do you get like a feeling in your leg, a tingle, and then you're like, oh. Does that happen to you when you're hearing what he's doing in camp right now?
I think we're going to see the closest thing to a backfield that probably anybody's seen in the NFL since like the mid to late 80s Raiders with Bo Jackson and, oh boy, I forget his name from USC. But anyways, they had two Hall of Fame running backs in the backfield, and I'm not going to say either one of our guys are that, but I think it's going to put so much pressure on opposing defensive coordinators to reveal their hands and force them into bad situations. I mean, if you start Gibbs out wide, you're going to have a corner or safety covering him, only to shift him inside and run up the middle. It's going to do a lot of stuff out there. And, Mike, we've all talked about it before, watching this kid coming over the middle, running deep outs, deep routes, fly patterns, whatever it is. There's just no spot on the field this guy can't affect. And that's, I think, the most exciting thing if I'm a Lions fan and anybody getting ready for the season. He is a complete weapon, like Holmes has said from day one. He's not going to be fit into one mold. He's not going to just play this position or be this. He's Deebo Samuel times 10. I mean, he's going to play all over the field, and I think that's going to be the hardest thing for any defensive coordinator to match up. I'll even say this. I fully expect we'll see some Wildcat packages with him under center.
We got Jeff Ayufrady in the building. That's my G over there from good old Woodward Sports. That guy is hilarious. Make sure you shout him out in the chat. Also, we will get that fantasy football set up. I've seen that in the chat as well. Probably a couple weeks before the regular season hits. You don't want to really do it too soon because there could be injuries or something before it. So we'll get that there. Also, let's get 14 more likes. Let's get to 50 likes. That can happen for sure. And I actually was going to ask AG about this next question, but since AG is now back here, we were at the draft together, and when Jamir Gibbs was drafted, there was a lot of angry, and me and you were like, makes sense. We weren't angry about it.
Yeah.
We were like, this is smart. I like what they're doing here. Why is that? And tell the folks what Jamir Gibbs is about.
I love Jamir Gibbs. I liked him more than if you hear my daughter in the background, sorry. But, Jamir Gibbs. I like what Jamir Gibbs is about as a back, as a playmaker. I love the spatial awareness he has when he's in pass protection. I love that he understands how to do different things, block, catch, the running. The running is just tremendous because he can see the hole. He can explode to it. And that's one thing that our running back room kind of lacked. Even if Swift had a big run, he would get caught down. This guy is not going to get caught. And even if I think Williams had better vision, but he didn't have better explosion. And I think this guy has the best of I was going to say Javid. The best of
the best
Swift
of Javid.
And the best. Yeah. He has the best of Swift and the best parts of Jamal Williams, especially with pass protection. That's why I really like him. Now, when it comes to him as just like a player and, just outside of being a player, I mean, he's a model guy. I'm not going to have to worry about him gambling. I'm not going to have to worry about, he was a team leader. He was, he's not a vocal guy. He's not crazy. He's not, he's not wild. I just like the fact that when they drafted him, they already knew the plan. He is a special player. He is that X factor. He is that Dexter McCluster, that Devin Hester, a player that you have to keep track of where he is, because schematically, this is a player that can do anything on 3rd and 10, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 1. You have to know where he is. And then you mix in a guy like Sam LaPorta. And now it's like, okay, so who am I going to let beat me today? The New England Patriots were notorious for that. Like, okay, we're going to take away this. Who are you going to beat us with? But now we have a situation where if they take away Gibbs, we got Sam LaPorta. We got, obviously the gambling man. We got Reynolds as well, doing some good work there. And, he just opens up things for other individuals just by his presence alone. And that's something we haven't had in Detroit since Calvin Johnson.
Yeah, we haven't had a difference maker, and he does do that on the field. It is a difference with his ability on the field. AG, another difference maker you talked about was Sam LaPorta. I was against the tight end. It had nothing to do with him personally or anybody else, but you're like, we got to get Sam LaPorta. Lions draft Sam LaPorta. You're happy at the NFL draft. Thoughts about it?
The only thing I didn't do right was I didn't get the video. Like, the Lions need Sam LaPorta. I didn't put out the video before the draft. I love Sam. I love Sam from a physicality standpoint, being that blocker. Yes, he is undersized tight end. There's 6-7 tight ends in the league that don't catch at all. You understand? So this guy, he runs routes smooth. He gets in and out of breaks smooth. You can put him in trips right. You can put him in 13 formation. He's very versatile in that aspect. He's very polished in catching the football and getting in and out of breaks. That's why you see a lot of this, oh, wow, Sam LaPorta. You're seeing a lot of this because the stuff that TJ Hawkinson was limited on or he didn't get an opportunity to do, this guy does that at an adequate level, and now he can just go out and be a pro. He can go out and be a safety net for Jared Goff, and we haven't seen Jared Goff have a safety net besides the running back and this, that, and the third. Early in the season last year, before Hawkinson was traded, he was just irrelevant. Even if they took him out of the play because of the contract or whatever, he was just irrelevant. He wasn't on the same page. And then he had a game where he had at least 2 touchdowns, I believe, against the Vikings. But this is Hawkinson Jr. for cheap. And I like this, and I liked where they picked him because where they picked him, they have at least 4 years to settle on a contract with him. So I'm happy we get a Hawkinson level player for cheap, and I'm happy we have such a polished pass protector as well as a run blocker and a pass catcher all in one package.
Ant-Man, we got kicking battles taking place in minicamp. How did it go today for our kickers? Who's got the edge? Who doesn't have the edge? Is Michael Badgley alive?
Well, they've said that Michael Badgley is on a bye until training camp and is going to win the battle of the two who are kicking at the minute. Patterson's really struggling. He went 6 of 11, I believe, today. He got narrowly beaten out by Romo. He hit 7 of 11, and apparently he was getting iced and everything as well, so he did well under pressure. You kind of feel at this point that Romo has a really good shot. I've been talking to guys who've been out there who've said that his technique looks really good. The long-distance kicking is, on a dime. It's like Prater level good. It's just the shorter range stuff he's got to get good at, but I think the way it's going, I think he wants to, and this has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that I'm trying to push the Romo cop narrative for Detroit, but Romo does look like he's performing very well. And Patterson, I don't think we're going to lose the draft pick for him. I don't think he's going to make this roster. I think that conditional pick's going to vanish. But it looks like Romo's going to win it at the minute, and I've got no problem with that. And then he'll face Badgley in training camp, see who wins the job for good.
We'll get your QA questions here in about 7 minutes, just trying to go through the training or minicamp observations that's taken place. Dan the man, Marvin Jones Jr., Jared Goff, starting to really get on the same page there. He's hauling in some catches. This is a very good sign for the Lions offense that this is progressing this fast. Thoughts on Marvin Jones Jr. and Goff?
I just think he's a veteran. He's been around forever. He's a great player, and more than anything, his route running was going to be some of the better route running you're going to be able to find on the Detroit Lions, let alone probably throughout the majority of the NFL. Calming presence, one who's going to add a lot of knowledge to help grow the younger players. But, the other part of the offense I think we all need to start asking is, we kind of talked about it a minute ago with some of these questions, but if you're a defensive coordinator, who can you double? And can you afford to play man-to-man all the time? Because it just seems like, when you talk about all of our weapons, including Jones Jr., there's just not a lot of players I think you're going to win consistently man-to-man on. And I'll say this, you're going to force some favorable matchups. And yes, Jameson Williams is going to be out for 6 weeks. Jones Jr., Reynolds, everybody else is going to fill in that spot. But this could be the year the Lions really have perhaps one of the most dangerous offenses in all the NFL, maybe for a few years to come.
It's really important to fill in the holes and stuff it like as much as you can by just like when you're talking about defensively, you want to make sure you take that D. It's very strong. Stuff it as hard as you can and just keep pushing at it. Just keep pounding it as hard as you can. Because even if you're hashtag smashed a hole in the run game and they're running really hard in the hole and they're trying to burst and explode, if you have a strong D, it can stop that explosion a little bit and hold it back. So, and then you can finally release the beast when the appropriate time is to get those touchdowns and score. So I think that's very vital for our Detroit Lions to take place and how they're operating there. Very, very much so. Some other notes here is a undrafted rookie, Starling Thomas, is doing absolutely good in minicamp, and he's knocking stuff down. Thoughts on that one, Ant-Man?
Yeah, well, we have a history of bringing in undrafted free agents who go fight for spots. They seem to be able to find the guys who have the attitude, the temperament, the ceiling, potentially, if they can, reach what they're capable of. And some of these guys have done really well here. So it's great. It just gives you added competition. If Starling Thomas is going to come in and ball out, apparently he's been doing well on special teams as well, which if you're going to take, corner 6 or whatever into your roster, you kind of need that. So those guys sort of on the periphery, the Will Harrises and those who might not make this team, they're going to have to play really hard if they want to keep the likes of this out. But that's only good for the team. All this competition means that hopefully at the end, we end up with a really competitive 53 who have all earned their places there and are going to go into the season, start off well, because they know if they don't, there'll be guys on the practice squad who can come in and take their place. So Starling's very interesting proposition. Obviously, we've seen with Jerry in recent years what these guys can come in and do if given the opportunity. So, yeah, fair play to him. If he wins it, he wins it. Great. It's just good to see them come in and put real pressure on maybe some of the players who thought they might just get in.
You mentioned Will Harris struggling. Thoughts on Will Harris, Ant-Man? Your favorite player on this football team.
I just think we're at the point now where you've given him enough time, and he's just not showing enough. We've invested heavily in the secondary for a reason. We've gone and got star guys for a reason, because the previous stars just were not of the caliber that we needed. So, Mosley's here, Gardner Johnson's here, Sutton's here, but Will, he's jack of all trades. He does nothing really well. He's okay, but for me, he's struggling in practices again at the minute. If a guy like Starling Thomas comes in, plays his socks off, and earns it over him, then I've got no compunction at this point. It's just we've not seen enough after all this time we've drafted him. Not for a third-round pick who we traded up for.
It's your time to shine, folks. It is the mailbag segment. Put hashtag Lions, hashtag Don Burr, hashtag FTrista, hashtag whatever you want. Just gives me an idea of what you guys make in the comment. That's how I see it. Also, hit that like button. Or you get to 100 likes, we're going to do an ultra combo. I was actually playing Killer Instinct right before I decided to go live. It was a fun game. It is a fun game. I absolutely love it. But do hashtag something so I can see your comments. I'm going through all the old ones really quick. There we go. Oh, that was a hashtag smash the like button. Yeah, we can do that for sure. Yep, not seeing any. So when you guys do that in the comment section, we will get it. Hashtag FGB talent. Oh, and that one really makes AG out the way. Hold on one second. Hashtag FGB talent in place now is currently coaching staff up to the challenge of taking the next step. Is this the current coaching staff? Hashtag FGB talent is in place now. Is the current coaching staff up to the challenge of taking the next step? What do you think, Ant-Man?
Yeah, I do. We've seen with Ben Johnson, he is capable of creating one of the most potent offenses in the league. He's got even more weapons to work with now, especially Gibbs. But like I said, LaPorta's in there. I'm really excited as to what they're going to do. And Ben, he's not going to rest on his laurels. He's not going to keep it all the same. He is going to keep adapting. He's going to keep evolving like the Chiefs do year on year. You think they can't get better. They find a way. Ben Johnson will find a way. It's a massive year for Aaron Glenn, but I think he's now got the veteran talent in there, which maybe he's lacked in previous years. So I would like to think that given the massive improvement we saw towards the back end of last year, now he's got the veterans in to help. You would like to think he can take a big step forward as well. And we know the positional guys, Hank Fraley, guys like this are just amazing at developing talent. So I think the coaches can. I think Dan can. I think together in a unified effort, they can really make big strides this year.
$5 super from the real one, Paul Ginder. Throw him some love in the comments section. He said, hashtag FGB, how many yards and touchdowns do you guys think LaPorta gets this year? I'll go with 5 touchdowns, 450 yards. AG?
That's hard to top because that was my number, 5 touchdowns. I go with 456 yards.
You're trying to go one on me, huh? Hey, Dan,
Yeah.
what do you think?
I think he's actually going to be closer to 800 yards receiving and somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 to 7 touchdowns. Just as much as the Lions like to use those smaller packages, especially to help increase the run around the goal line, I think he's going to be a target that's open quite a lot with his speed and his ability to get yards after the catch, especially if they're going to have to double some of our outsides or Gibbs or whoever it may be. He's going to be stuck in a lot of one-on-one coverage, and I think he's going to win a lot of those matchups.
Oh my God!
What do you think there, Ant-Man? That's pretty high. Can you beat over 800 yards?
No, I can't. And it's nothing against Sam, but I'm a big James Mitchell fan, and I think they are both going to do well this year. I think he's going to get about 400, Sam LaPorta, and I think that is a reason is because Mitchell will probably get similar as well, maybe. I think they're both going to be used a lot in the passing game.
Paul Schultz, hashtag Mike is a real one. Do the Lions deserve a 50 for 50 on how hard it has been to be a Lions fan? Abso-effing-lutely. That is exactly what needs to occur. They need to put all of us on there. The Lions fans that are old, that's been waiting for it, 100%. We need that to happen right meow. Get it done. Ryan Gibson, hashtag Motor City Dan Campbell. Just wanted to say thanks for all the hard work you guys do for us viewers. Keep up the good work. Well, shout out to you, Ryan. We really appreciate you for sure. You get comments like that, makes you keep wanting going. Hashtag Smash the Hole. We always love doing that. If we make playoffs, Dan should join the bald group. Laughing my ass off. Yes, 100%, Dan. You will have to shave your head. AG, you got hair as well. If we make the playoffs, you're all going bald.
Yep. I'll just say that, man. Yep.
We got here. Odds of a new episode of Inside the Den tonight. I have no idea. I don't know when they do it. They do it like there's no time tell. It just drops. Salem Board Moon Rising. F them all. Will Levi be ready for camp? Will he be cut? I'm saying he'll get released with an injury settlement. That's my thoughts. AG?
Yeah, that's y'all got to move on from that. That's dead. That's dead. This is his one shot. We talked about this, last year. Like this guy he's not produced. He's not produced at a high level. He's not produced at a JV level. And as far as being a pro, we didn't want to draft him in the first place. Levi Onwuzurike, he was thought to be the best defensive tackle on that draft. I had a lot of pushback on that when I said he was not. And, again, the back, the neck, the bicep, the tricep, this guy is like 2 seconds away from VA disability. So I think that, in all honesty, we might as well part ways with him now. You might as well just get that out your head that he ain't going to make the team.
I agree. Look, guys, it's admirable what he's trying to do, but when you have a fusion, there's no coming back from a fusion. I have a fusion. I know this. I mean, it feels good. It's great. I mean, it took the pain away, but it's fused. It means like your bones are not moving anyway. It's fused together. They literally screw them together. So that's how it works. Hashtag Spoony Tank. The Lions are ridiculously deep and going to wear opponents right out. Never-ending supply of grit, busting people in the face to the last whistle. Dan, I agree.
I mean, we've got depth everywhere, it seems. I think all of us could probably agree going to the draft. The biggest weak spot we probably had depth-wise at was going to be defensive tackle and quarterback. But both those spots have been addressed. Could we shore up defensive tackle a little bit more? Sure, but they're really, for the first time in probably since the early to mid-'90s, there's no obvious holes on this team, and there's quite a lot of playmakers. And you think about just the linebackers, the edge rushers, etc., that we can throw at opposing teams. Offensive linemen, if some team ever runs into a situation where they get a little fatigued or tired or gassed, it's going to be open season on that opposing quarterback and running back.
There's a hole. There's a hole in the bottom of the sea. Army Cadence right there. AG shaking his head. He knows this. Hashtag lines. When will a Lions sign DeAndre Hopkins? Ant-Man, when are they going to sign this guy?
Never. Not that I wouldn't take it if it was done, but I just don't think that they will. I mean, you're getting JMO back after 6 weeks. You're pretty deep there now. You've got a lot of guys in. I just don't think it's something they're going to do. Like, as I've said on occasion before, we do have money spare, but I would rather wait up until the trade deadline and start buying people then, because you're going to get better, well, not better quality players, but you're going to get players who are going to be here for longer term in the future, because I don't think Hop is going to be here long term.
I got tired.
You want to keep trying to build for the future. For me, anyhow, you want to try and build long term. So, yeah, I'd save it for the trade deadline.
61 likes. Let's get to 70 likes. 9 away. Again, we get to 100. We will do an ultra combo. Go ahead, AG.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I was saying that y'all got tired, huh? Y'all got tired of every year there's a free agent or there's someone that's getting cut. Every summer there's someone, N'Keal Harry. We need to get we need y'all got tired of all this everybody get cut. We gotta go get them. We have to get them. Dalvin Cook get cut. Y'all, we're staying put because y'all been proven wrong for the last 3 years. Johnny Jack get cut. We got to go get him. Teddy Bridgewater get cut. We got to go get him. We got to go get everybody. We got to go get Grandma from across the street because she just left the Myers. She just left. We go pick her up and bring her over here to Walmart.
She throw them bows.
Yeah, y'all got tired of predicting. We go get this new free agent.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, like I've been saying this for a while, and I don't know what Dan's thoughts on this, but I don't see them doing it. I mean, we got so many weapons right now. There's just so many balls to go around. You got now LaPorta in the mix, Jameer Gibbs, Jameson Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Khalif Raymond, Josh Reynolds, Marvin Jones Jr., Jared Goff can't throw it to, like, everybody. And then you're going to run the football with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. Would he make the team better talent-wise for the depth at wide receiver? Yes, but is it really going to make a difference? I think if you're going to get somebody, maybe an interior defensive lineman would be something that you want to do, something that's actually going to be used a little bit more. That's just my thoughts on it. Dan, what's your thoughts?
I'm pretty much with you. I mean, Hopkins, I wouldn't complain if we got him, but the other part is you slowed down the progression of some of the younger players that are going to be here for the foreseeable future. Hopkins, I think if we went after him and got him, he'd be here 1 year and that's it. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but I'm with you. I'd be more inclined to go for somebody on the defensive line because I think if we do have a shortcoming, there's depth there at defensive tackle. There's just not a ton of depth there. So it just comes down to, Hopkins, if he wants to come here on the cheap for a year, sure. But would I be trying to throw him into being the number 1 or number 2 right off the bat? I wouldn't.
Yeah,
I'm
go ahead.
I'm still waiting for my Jalen Ramsey jersey because they told me I was crazy when Jalen Ramsey wasn't coming here.
I got crucified because I didn't want Jalen Ramsey. I got crucified. I don't know football. We get Cameron Sutton, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who I said we'd get, Emmanuel Mosley. Secondary looks sticky. By the way, that's been taken in minicamp. It is looking really damn good, and they're competing against each other. Kirby Joseph getting loud. The addition of C.J. Gardner-Johnson is so immense towards what's taking place in the verbal actions of the secondary and the cohesive unit and now building confidence and showing swag. This is amazing. Watching him change these players, because you're now Jerry Jacobs getting into it. I mean, these guys are getting swag. AG, they're getting swag from it.
Yeah. It's just nice to see that confidence. I was laughed out the park. Some guest here laughed me out the park about Hamilton and all these other safeties, and I said Kirby Joseph is the best safety in the draft. And then I was laughed out of town. And then when they drafted him, I'm the man, and then they forget it. And, but I will say that the addition of C.J. Gardner-Johnson, him being that joker position, him being that individual that you can put in the slot, you could have him blitz. He's doing the same thing schematically that he did for New Orleans. He's doing the same thing schematically that he did for Florida. He's doing the same thing schematically that he did for every team he was on, including Philadelphia, where he can play high, he can play low, he can play the slot, he can play inside, outside. And he is that piece that elevates everybody. But not only that, he's infusing that swag, that hunger. I believe he's younger than 26 as well. That swag, that hunger, and that energy that he naturally has, he's infusing that onto the youth. Kirby Joseph already had that type of energy. He already had that coming out. He already had a vocal type of way. But you see, it comes from Jerry Jacobs. It's now getting more apparent that this defense, this defensive secondary, is filling themselves, and they can. They're stopping. When they get stops, they're stopping an offense that ranked third. That has to be in the back of their mind. And we seen it on Hard Knocks. They was getting 8 alive. Drip, drip, AG, drip, drip. They was like a leaky faucet. And now, after all the speeches are done, now we see them actually rising to the occasion and doing the work that we pay them to do.
And I can't wait to watch it on Sundays. They're going to disrupt the hell out of teams, and I think turnovers is going to be awesome to watch this year. David Barnett / #defense. Who do we have on defense that can keep up with Williams, Gibbs, and Raymond? And I love that you put Raymond in there, because Khalif Raymond to me is the forgotten gem that just continues to produce every freaking Sunday. I talk about him a lot because this guy gets open, he's fast, and he catches every damn thing, and he's good at punt returns as well. He is a difference maker that nobody talks about. Ant-Man, what is your, who can keep up with these guys, especially on Sundays when we're going against other teams?
Well, who do we have? I mean, most of our secondary, the ones that have come in, they've can run 4.3s and 4.4s. So, I think, Gardner-Johnson, he's lightning quick. But, yeah, for the most part, if you go in opposition, then you're going to struggle to have guys who can keep up with all three of them in one go. So, yeah, this is just what's going to make it so good. It's just so varied. You've got everything you want in there in terms of speed, technical know-how. This defense has a little bit of everything. And you've even got a deep threat if you want to bring Antoine Green in as well whilst J-Mo's out. So, yeah, I think a lot of DCs are going to have nightmares against us if you're trying to prep for them, trying to adjust in-game to them. You saw it last year. Just some teams just simply could not live with us. And I think it's going to be exactly the same this year because we've fixed, if there were any holes on the offense, we've just got better. So, and not many people will be able to live with them.
Let's talk a little bit about Leaf. I love this guy. Do #Leaf in the comment section, Dan. This guy is so underrated, but he produces every freaking Sunday. Why is he always forgotten about? Khalif Raymond, the little guy who just does it all.
I think it's just because you just nailed it on the head. Oh, did you say AG? Sorry. I thought you said Dan.
No.
Dan, go ahead, and then AG take over after.
Just because of his size, I think. You've got other names around him, and unfortunately, small guys get looked at in the NFL like, they're just here for a little bit. But Khalif Raymond's proven himself time and time again. He's beat people down the sidelines. He's done great things on punt and kickoff returns. There's just, other than his physical size, there's just no downside to him. And I don't see him going anywhere anytime soon. I mean, he's a playmaker.
AG.
Yeah, well, of course I didn't see it up close and personal, but I had to rewatch some of the games. If you look back at the season, he was open a lot. When you have a subpar quarterback that can't throw 20 to 25 yards deep, when you have that, you kind of get bottled up. You kind of have to hold the slants in. You can't go on your 9 routes or your 7 routes anymore. You have to, get those 5-yard routes and 5-yard. He's getting looked over because of subpar play of his quarterback, because his quarterback can't throw deep. Now, however, I think that, Khalif Raymond, the real viewers like yourself and myself, the real people who analyze the game and understand the game, we see him get open consistently. We see JMO get open. We see guys down the field get open, and we'll settle for that 8-yard, that 8-yard curl on the outside. We'll settle for it because we're moving the sticks. Hopefully that changes in the next 5 months, 6 months, and we can start blowing the top off the defense. And I'm not saying there's a practical application for an 80-yard throw every play, or every offensive opportunity is an 80-yard play. I'm just saying when those opportunities are there, they should be taken advantage of. And Khalif Raymond is going to be the best scheme fill-in for Jameson Williams, because he has that ability, and he has that that it factor and the speed. So, I'm just hoping that he gets his opportunity to show his deep speed, and so he can get paid. I think he deserves another contract here in Detroit.
Absolutely, you should. This dude catches everything. It doesn't matter where it's thrown. He is not tall. He catches everything. It's really good to see. And I agree with you. He is the unspoken hero on this team. And when you have Jameson Williams and LaPorta out there and Jamir Gibbs, it's just going to even open them up even more for plays. And yeah, good luck defense with all these speed guys that we got and these magnificent route runners. We got a lot of great route runners on this team, tight ends and wide receivers. People are going to have some issues with that. Derek Biddleman says, what record do we have to keep AG and Ben, or what record to lose both at the end of the season? I think to keep Ben Johnson, it would have to fall significantly, because I think he'll be a head coach. I think this offense is going to thrive. I think he's going to become a head coach. For Aaron Glenn, I think if the defense is 18 and below, he's done. Because there's just the talent's here. The talent is on this team defensively. If we have an 18 or worse defense, I think he's gone. Ant-Man, what are your thoughts on those two?
Yeah, with AG, it's not the record that's going to decide whether they come or go. It's his unit and how well it performs. And I've said if it's not top 16, 17 after 3 years with the injection of talent it's had this year, he should be fired, because that is not good enough. But likewise, if he sort of gets it up to top 10 contention, maybe, well into the top 10, whatever, given that he's had head coach looks already, that will just kind of maybe reaffirm the belief that some of them who were just waiting for him to create a top tier offense, they'll be like, right, maybe he'll get the head coach job. Now, I don't think there's a real big bit in the middle where people will still leave him alone or whether we'll still keep him. So it all depends on the record, which way he goes. Ben Johnson, I think if he's top 10 again, then he's gone. Again, it doesn't matter about the record. We could go like 5-12 this year, but if the offense is top 5 and it's just the defense that screwed us over again, he will still get a head coach job. If we go 13-4 and get in the playoffs and win playoff games, he will most certainly get a job. It doesn't matter how we do, as long as that offense is just top 10 again. So, yeah, Ben's gone. Aaron, I hope he's gone for good reasons, but yeah, I think it could well be the other way if it's not.
I really hope this defense take a significant jump. AG, what's your thoughts on the question?
I think Lions fans need to, they need to get with the times. It's really not about playoffs. It's about seeding. We can't keep this. What record do we have to keep them? One thing is you have to trust that the staff is maturing in every sense of the word. If the staff is maturing in every sense of the word, that means everybody's growing. And there can't be too many kings in the castle, okay? People are going to get jobs. Coaching trees are going to get expanded. And this is a bigger issue. This is a bigger thing to me, because we have former players like AG. We have Dan Campbell. This is going to lead to the signing of D'Amico Ryans. This is going to lead to the signing of this person. And then there's going to be, when they get their own teams, they're going to have trees and things that come back to the Detroit Lions. You want to keep them, I understand you want to keep them you know, in the conversation with you. You want to keep them in the organization, and that's great. It's very great. But in every field, in every like world, whether it's IT, medical, everybody moves on and grows, and then you have to trust that the philosophy is to grow and groom others up under you. That needs to be the philosophy. So, what record to keep them? They have to lose. What record to if the Lions win a playoff game, you can say bye-bye to them unless you want to make them the highest paid. And then when you make them the highest paid, Lions fans have this expectation if they make $8 million a year, they have to play God now. So, you know, I just
care
feel
less
like,
how much they get paid. It doesn't affect cap.
exactly.
So they don't affect cap. That's what I
It's a
say.
backwards question.
I don't care. Like, it does. Coaching and coordinators, the amount of money they get does not affect the cap space. Don't care.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, if you lose your coordinators and they're getting head coaching jobs, that's awesome. That means your coaching tree is working out. And you got to develop coaches beneath you. And that's what I want to see this year with the tight ends coach, who could be the offensive coordinator next year. Sit there with Ben Johnson, be part of what he's doing, learn from him. So if he does get the job, you can take over and it just keeps going. That's what you want to see here. And so that's
what Andy Reid did.
Yeah, that's what you
That's
got
what
to
Andy
do.
Reid, Bill Belichick, all the great coaches. Everybody else does it. I don't know. We want to keep people at the same position for 20 years.
In the Army, it's the same way. You teach your as sergeant, you teach your specialist. My job. So if I can't do it, they can jump right in and take over, and that's exactly what it's like in the coaching staff as well. #Lions. How is Ibrahim been doing in camp? Could he be our RB3, Dan?
Absolutely. I mean, I was surprised when we were able to get him as a undrafted agent, but I think we all know his abilities, his capabilities, and with the fact that I think Gibbs is going to be out wide a lot of the times, if we do need a second back in there, he's the obvious choice to me at this time. I just don't see anybody else we're picking up or currently on the roster who's going to beat this kid out of snaps.
What do you think about Ibrahim there, Mr. Ant-Man?
I love Mo. Have since college. You know, I was really impressed with the way he bounced back from his serious injury last year. And I would love him to be RB3 because for me, he brings something that Monty and Gibbs don't. I mean, I love Monty. Monty's as technically gifted as they come, but Mo will run over you. Mo's the guy you can send in there again and again and again, and he will just run you over. And if you've been sort of unleashing Monty and Gibbs on them for a full game, you get into the fourth quarter, and then you're sending Mo out there as well. He's got to truck guys. He's got to get you the yards you want. No one's like him. And, you know, I like Reynolds and guys like that, but they are not the sort of running back that Mo is. So you like to have diversity in your running back room for as many situations as possible. So for that reason, I would give Mo it. I've not heard much about him in training camp, but I think that's probably a good thing. You don't want to hear no badge, you don't hear no good. He's just getting on with his work. But I would love him to be RB3. Like I say, I want as many different backs in my room as I can. No one's like him.
Let's see. #AT, what spot would you draft Gibbs in fantasy football? First off, love this question. And again, earlier in fantasy football, I won last year against everybody. Thank you. Yes, I know. I was the champion, and it will happen again when I start my league. The leagues will start back up, and I'll beat you all again. If you're on the panel, I'll beat you. If you're listening, I'll beat you. Where would I take? I'm going to give you a secret here because I really do believe this. Because of his ability to play wide receiver as well as running back, I would draft him in round 2. I know that sounds crazy because he's a rookie. I'd do it in round 2. That's my thought. AG?
No, I'm with you. I just read that question and I just thought, oh, here he goes. You know, again, I was on deployment. I couldn't focus too much on that draft because once I missed the draft and I had those duds, once you miss the draft, you're done pretty much in fantasy football world. But he's a second round pick for sure, and you only won because I think a lot of people were like just not hitting on the draft picks. But I'm gonna stay vigilant this year, and I'll make sure you get not ran over, but flown over. Okay, I'm gonna make sure my first pick might be Jalen Hurts and the Eagles defense. We're gonna make sure that you have no shot this year.
I got Jalen Hurts in round 3.
Oh yeah,
that's what I got, Matt. Yeah. 9 drinks, my man, 9 drinks. And I appreciate you in here, bruh. I'm always liking you. Hashtag full safety. How much rotation do you see in our secondary? A ton of rotation. I expect AG, the not one in on the panel, but the one that's doing the coordinator, to be mixing CJ, Brian Branch, who I think you're going to see a lot of, and just mixing this S up like crazy. I expect some freaking epic rotation taking place, and everyone's going to go through this one. Ant-Man, thoughts on the rotation? I do think Brian Branch is going to get in there and get his because he's doing really well in camp. Thoughts?
Oh, yeah, you've said it there. I expect to see an absolute ton of rotation. And, because these guys, they're so versatile in what they do. And like I say, I would love to see Gardner Johnson and Branch out there at the same time because as an opposing offensive coordinator, like, what the hell are they doing with them? There's so much you can do with them. And if they're both out there, you just don't really have a clue what's coming. And you've got such good depth. You can use it favorably. Dan Campbell loves his matchups. He loves to put guys in favorable situations. Glenn does. They will rotate as much as they need to, and I think there will be a lot. And that's a great thing. We've just not had that for ever, really, in our secondary. So, yeah, there'll be a load.
AG.
Yeah, when you say rotation, the rotation could be positive or negative. I'm going to go with the positive. The rotation, like we see how Gardner Johnson was used in Florida. They had the start position, and I believe that he could be that start position, safety. And I think that, you're going to see more exotic blitzes, exotic coverages from them. You might see Gardner Johnson look like a linebacker in a dime defense, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine. I think that when you talk about rotation in a positive way, which I hope this person was talking about, is you're going to see people going in and inside and outside. But what I really like about this particular group is that all the corners, Sutton included, Sutton more particular than anybody, can play inside and outside. They've had wide receiver ones on their when they went against them, if you understand what I'm saying. So every player, Mosley, Sutton, Gardner Johnson, has taken away at one point or another a wide receiver that was an X or a Y or a Z. So I love the value of, hey, I could take away your best receiver with any of my guys. So if you line them up, I don't have to rotate them all throughout. I don't have to have one guy to fly on an island and take away your best guy. I have a variety that can take away different players. And if you want to take away the slot, you can take away the slot with X, Y, and Z player, but he has the same skill set to go inside and outside. That's what I really like. It's more stand fast because last year was like a lot of patchwork. It was just like, hey, look, can you cover him? I don't know. I don't know if I can cover him, coach. And it's just a lot of patchwork. But here you can just go out and trust that in a nickel formation, in a dime package, that you're going to have coverage on every player on the field, and you're not going to have a weakness. And I like that.
For sure. Folks, we have been on for nearly an hour, and I'm going to let Dan, what do you got to say? We close this bad boy out.
Hey, just embrace the moment. As somebody who's been a Lions fan since the late 70s, I can tell you this. Seasons like this don't come around often in Detroit. So, get ready for a good show because I think this season's going to be fun to watch, and hopefully it is for the next foreseeable years. And
I got to go clap my girl's cheeks really quick. So with that said, folks, adios.
Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless, a sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it, and I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Yeah, don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day exploring.
My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great.